Would you see bet a top pair here, or would you call ace jack on this blank turn? Would you really continue in this multi-way spot? Most players get at least one of these wrong, and the scary part is they don't even realize it. These are the kind of post-flop mistakes I see everywhere, from small stakes all the way up to high stakes regulars. In this video, I show you 5 common post-flop traps using our new updated pair trainer with ICM post-flop solver integration, as well as a multi-way trainer. But more importantly, I show you the real-world adjustments that make these spots profitable against the players you actually face. Doesn't find those bluffs every single time, you're absolutely torching money with it. Get these spots wrong and you keep wondering why you're stuck and your win rate keeps bleeding. Get them right and you start crushing the players who are still making these mistakes every session. Would you be betting pocket jacks here? I think most of you would, but you'll be surprised if we look at our betting range. You see a lot of hands that you think are very easy bets, like 10-9, Jack-9, King-9, Queen-9. All of these hands are mostly a check. I'm not saying, exploitative speaking, that we should be checking those hands, but there is a good reason for it. Think about your range. As we can see from the button, we're gonna have a lot of queen jack offs, ace 6 offs, a lot of hands that have not connected, just 9x and over pairs. Most people approach it of, oh, my opponent has missed a lot, so I go ahead and bet because I have all the over pairs. But mathematically speaking, you have whiffed this board very often. You cannot bet everything here, and there's ICM in play. We're on a final table and the big blind has the advantage because his ICM pressure is lower. So rule number 1, when you are covered on a final table and you have missed a lot, you have to check back a lot. In theory, why do we need to understand this? Because exploitatively speaking, from the big blind, we want to check raise very aggressively versus a button bet here. Yes, the button is gonna be betting more 9x than it's supposed to happen in theory, but also betting way too much of those king queens, king jacks, king 10s, ace 6s, queen 8s, even hands that are air are supposed to check back and also give it up from time to time. But this is never happening when you get such favorable boards, highly overrated, these kind of situations. A lot of mindless stabbing here. Very good to apply pressure here from the big blind and check raise really wide. What is also really interesting, if we play the spot from big blind's perspective, we're supposed to have some leads here. Keep in mind, button has a lot of air. Yes, big blind as well, but when you have the advantage in ICM, you don't really care, especially on boards where you have the nut advantage. You will see that here, button is almost never gonna have a deuce, but big blind has. So we see that here, there is some leading happening 30% of the time, approximately, on one of those paired boards that is actually not that great for big blind. If the board is 9-6-6, 8-8-10, where we're gonna have way more offsuited trips, there's a shitload of leading. All right, we see ace 10 also. It's very interesting. It's a very high frequency bet. To me, this would be a very natural check. I'm curious if we face a raise. You see ace 10 off. It actually wants to back jam. Wow. Maybe this shit isn't that bad, because if you think about it, you get it in against some draws that you head against, nut flush draws. You block good 7x. You block a lot of bluff raises that fold. And there's a good chance maybe he check raises something like 7-5 for protection, folds against the jam. Probably the solver is not doing it, but who knows? And obviously, these plays, if you think about it, these aggressive c-bets and then we 3-bet jam over the check raise, they don't happen on final tables. What does it mean as conclusion? That favors the big blind player to check raise more. Because let's say if we have queen 5 and hearts here and we check raise, or queen 8 and hearts, and we're not being pushed off our equity from ace 10 and only calls, then that means we get to see a turn and potentially a river can hit a queen and 8 and win against ace high. So that boosts the EV for check raising. Difficult spot, right? So if we opt to check back, I think, in chip EV always call, but now keep in mind, this is already a quarter of our stack. So that means the ICM tax is already there. I would still call, but you see now even King 10 is folding. I guess we only call with a spade because this gives us some options to bluff the river. While pocket fives is full range calling. That's crazy. I think I would fold this, and I think most people would fold this as well. Yeah, you have a gut shot, but I prefer having ace 10 off where you have two overcards and a gut shot, and you can still be ahead against the bluffs. But fives, very difficult to realize your equity. Okay guys, now it gets even spicier. Very interesting, we don't have an immediate short stack. So it's one of these spots where you play the final table relatively deep. And yeah, let's have a look here how we're supposed to approach this. We see obviously we have aces kings here, which is really good for us. But what stands out here is UTG1 is not going to have all the ace-x. Right, he 3-bets some ace jacks, ace 10s, perhaps some ace queen offs. That's why the best tip I can give you is always look into the preflop ranges. So this usually gives you an indicator when you see, okay, under the gun 1 that is flatting is not going to have all the ace-x's we have. Even something like ace 6 suited, right? This should be an indicator, and especially in ICM where we try to be high card heavy in our open raising ranges. When there's a high card, an ace and king is usually really good for the in-position player. You might be surprised, but Ben, it's checking 45%. Considering that this guy covers us with a tight range and we're still betting so much, almost 50% out of position, is actually a lot. What are the most natural bluffs? If you follow the logic of we want to take the hands that unblock a lot of folds, it's pocket fives here, right? Pocket fives, pocket sevens. So we target queens, jacks, tens, and you see actually we just bet a quarter. How is our opponent supposed to react against the quarter? You see, if he doesn't have the backdoor flush draw, just folds. What I'm really curious, if our opponent calls and let's say we take a blank on the turn, let's say the 3 in clubs. If we bet big, we start betting, let's say 70-80% pot if there's a world where he folds an ace. Yeah, you see that here. Okay, that's a big league of mine. That's something I will definitely keep in mind. That's for me already. I don't want to look into the river. If I study this spot, big note, and now you can apply this logic to king high boards, queen high boards. It's totally fine to start folding top pairs on the turn. What are the most natural bluffs? Pocket 8. With a spade, even without a spade, we just barrel some under pocket pairs and we bluff king x. Because is there some ace king? Yeah, we see our opponent is flatting a little bit ace king. With these deeper stacks on final table, you will see that frequently that aces, ace king, kings does flat sometimes. But that's the thing. Assume you're sitting here with ace jack, ace 10. As the cold caller. And now your opponent bets 70% pot. You might think I have a top pair. And I remember, you know, it was break even when I saw this video from Bencb. But again, this is break even against a freaking maniac GTO player who finds all these bluffs with king 7, king 8, that finds these weird bluffs. Like this is happening 50% of the time. So even if your opponent bluffs queen jack, queen 10, jack 10, bluffs king 7, king 8, king 9, bluffs pocket 5s, pocket 7s, pocket 8s a little bit, your ace jack and ace 10 is break even. Now assume you play against a slightly more passive opponent, doesn't find those bluffs every single time, you're absolutely torching money with ace jack, ace 10 on the turn here. So, and what does it mean exploitative speaking for us? If we are the preflop aggressor, we want to be going hard for value with ace queen, ace king. We don't want to slow play or make tricky checks. That's why I roast some of you in our Discord when you make these fancy checks and small bets, guys, put the money into the pot. But I will also likely check queen jack or jack 10 on the flop because I know I'm not going to have the fold equity on the turn. The solver will tell you, yeah, c-bet queen jack, jack 10, but the solver also understands that in a lot of turns we can second barrel and we start getting folds from top pairs. Yeah, keep dreaming. So you can practice lots of different scenarios in our ICM post-flop library, different boards, different stages of the tournament. You activate the trainer and you say ICM, pick the stage. You can choose the stack sizes and then it feeds you with situations. Okay guys, multi-way training, and the best tip I can give you right away is on boards where you have draws. On ace 9-8 for example, you can massively overfold. Not exploitative speaking, that's the correct theoretical approach. Why? The moment there are flush draws, straight draws, those are the hands we want to continue. If you face action here, you have something like ace 4 clubs, you can already fold, because a hand like queen 5 of hearts, queen 7 of hearts, king 10 of hearts now are much stronger, especially 3-way, 4-way or 5-way. I see a lot of players being attached to their top pair weak kicker. It comes from playing heads-up pots, single race pots, 1v1, especially in GTO, where people have this mindset of, oh, I'm top of my range, I have to call at least once. This is literally a big league, and you will see that even the solver makes pretty sick folds in your eyes, but pretty standard. And you keep calling in those situations, and then you wonder why you are losing so many pots. So here we just fold. If you look at the range, we continue. It's our nut flush draws, 2 pairs, not even ace jack or ace queen if we would have it. Okay, so what are we going to do here? Straight draw, right? I would call, but as you can see already in this node, with all our top pairs, you see ace7 for example, right? 100% fold unless you have ace7 of hearts, ace7 of diamonds, fold. Even ace10 is break even. We start folding it, which is absolutely insane. Imagine you're in this situation with ace10 and diamonds. Are you able to make a fold against one player here? It's easy to say, well, another gun can be on jacks or pocket sixes or king queen, right? And button is betting an ace 4. But if we have a look and we navigate to button's betting range here, so we see something like, obviously pocket nines likes to bet big. So we see these are the hands, a 7-5, an 8-6, king 6. So a lot of hands that I think most people just bet 2 big blinds. So when they're in the situation here, they would bet 2 big blinds, 2.5 big blinds, and don't start bluffing with like 8-7 or 9x with the bigger sizing. So a lot of the times you will see this is 2 pair or good ace-x, and you're gonna see that those hands like ace-10 or ace-5 off here are just torching money. And if another gun now decides for a raise, this is difficult. I think calling once, because our implied, if he has a 2 pair or straight a set, we're always gonna stack him, right? Yeah, but we fold. Thing is, it's only 11 big blinds but the thing is, yeah, we're only gonna see the turn. And I was thinking that maybe just by seeing the turn, and even if we only have 17% equity with a straight draw, it's worth it. But you also see here, the only hands we continue here are very strong draws, 2 pairs, pair plus nut flush draw, right? If we have ace7 and spade and hearts, we're crushing the queen 10 of hearts, jack 10 of hearts. So this is something I see a lot of players where they post a hand, oh Ben, what am I supposed to do with ace queen? What am I supposed to do with ace jack? A golden rule, when there's action, bet, raise, re-raise, big bet, call, re-raise, or raise, right? This is big action. When there's big action on the flop, you see that even if this guy is probably finding some really fancy raises that we're going to be looking into, we only continue with 2 pair or very strong draws. The weakest draw we're going to continue here is queen 10 of hearts, 10-7 of hearts, 7-6 of hearts, sets, 2 pairs. That's it. What do we do with ace jack? Ace jack is the only brain fart combo that is left there, but we can be sure that population is not bluff raising here. So let's have a look. So this is basically under the gun's raising range, right? And he's bluff raising, and this is what most players wouldn't do. He starts raising some ace jack, ace 10. So obviously if he starts bluff raising ace 10 to make us fold ace jack, which is not going to happen, your ace 10 and ace jack and the big blind is completely toast. So it's a mix of also nut flush draws, combo draws, 2 pair sets, and then the ace king, ace queen. I think raising here from under the gun's position with ace king, ace queen is really good because he gets it in against all of the nut flush draws, right? If you have ace king, big blind has ace 5 on hearts, it's basically a naked flush draw. Or runner trips, or runner straight, some bullshit 1 or 2% outcome. But at the end of the day, I think this is really good here to raise to 15 big blinds and then get it in. Obviously, it's high variance because we're often going to run into 9s, 8s, ace 9, ace 8, but you also get it in against, and this is way more combos, draws, and pair plus flush draw. So now, what do we do if under the gun bets? Obviously, against a small bet, we call. We call pretty wide. We start folding some weak 9x. So even if you have something like 9-5 in diamonds here, you see that we fold every single time. So even against a small bet in a heads-up pot, we would call any pair. So you see the big difference. If this is under the gun versus big blind, we have a naked 9, we would call at least once. I mean, it's a quarter. It's not even a third. Against a quarter pot size bet, we already start folding pairs, a lot of the pairs. In fact, we even start folding pretty good second pairs, right? A queen 9, a jack 9, 10 9. It's not like, we have a pair, we call once. No, you see here, these are almost all pure folds, unless you have a backdoor flush draw. If you have 10 9 in spades, yeah, you call. But you have 10 9 in diamonds, you fold. And you have a backdoor straight draw. You have second pair, backdoor straight draw, and you fold against the quarter pot size bet. That's multi-way, ladies and gentlemen. So this is interesting. These are 12 big blinds in the middle. We only have to call 2 big blinds, but it should be apparent that this is not feeling good anymore. Someone is very likely already going to have a better hand or a lot of equity. It's going to be really hard to realize our equity if under the gun decides to go for a big second barrel. So I was thinking to bluff raise. Right, and we see that here, that even though it's just 10% EV difference, want to start raising those. So we push out hands like ace, king, ace, queen. We also don't mind pushing out the hand like pocket eights that still has 10% equity. So you see that here, that our strategy now mostly switches to raising only. Right, we use some jack X as a bluffs. We have 10x, we have strong draws. So overall, we have a very strong range on this board if we raise. And you see this in multi-way a lot. If there's a bet and a call, and you have a decent amount of nutted hands, you start raising, you start turning top pairs into a bluff. So if we raise, you see that under the gun already starts folding better top pairs. Folds ace jack off, starts folding king jacks, queen jacks, continues with king queens. I mean, you see that even ace queen or ace king is better than a jack for the most part. And you can see how many reps you can get in for these flop plays. We also have full multi-way playthroughs, as you can see here in our library, all sorts of different positions, boards. We're also going to be adding more stacks. And as you can see, we also completely reworked paired. So when you have access to the champions tier, provides you with content on a daily basis. You can implement streaks to hold yourself accountable. You can set how many videos you want to watch, how many quizzes you want to take, for which parts, tournaments, ICM, and then you can get started and then try to keep that streak to hold yourself accountable. Keeps track of certain areas that you struggle the most, and you can just click into them, and then it will provide you with quizzes for these areas, even with ICM, which is very difficult. So we see here the position, it's like halfway through the tournament, and then you practice the spot with getting real-time feedback for what you're supposed to do. One of my favorite parts are still the daily quizzes, especially the Bencb ICM drills, every day new quizzes. This is so powerful, where you are thrown into different spots in different stages of the tournament, everything with ICM solved, and you can practice here really in a really fast and effective way. You can always see all of the ranges real time. You can click on the players. If you're interested, what is actually button supposed to do against middle position here? Boom, it opens and you get to see it right away. So then you get a score, and then it also, depending where you struggled, was it short stack, big stack, filters it even more into specific leagues. And the more you do it, the more accurately, the better the database, the scores, it keeps track on the way you perform, whether it's blind versus blind, certain positions, short stacks, big stacks, and then also for post-flop, of course. Course videos, you have them here in the tournament section, or we also rework this so it keeps track of everything. You start with pre-flop, then adjusting pre-flop, flatting 3-betting. You can click your way through. You see all the videos here. You see it on the right side, how much progress you made. One of my favorite parts of the Champions tier, the post-flop rocket. 12 or 13 most money-making situations in post-flop in the shortest period of time. Especially if you don't have a lot of time. You say, I don't have time to study poker. This teaches you post-flop in the fastest way possible. This is insane value. Our students are loving it. Lots of different sections where basically I sit down and say, hey, do this, do that, do this. And you're gonna print money. You also have the bounty course here, the mindset course, the 6max sit and go course, obviously my range viewer that I've been updating 4 or 5 times now over the last 6-7 years. And don't forget our exclusive Discord groups only for champions members, where you see with ICM hands, tournament questions, bounty hands, mindset, my personal review corner where I share more content with you. If I see something, it's like, hey, it needs to go out right now, I review something, I share that with our community in there. So if you want to start crushing at poker, $400 off now during our summer sale. This is everything you need. You also get 14 days money back guarantee, and you get access to our brand new ICM POSTFLOP trainer with our new solver interface attached. As you've seen, this is going to give you a massive edge over everyone else. You can study and practice so many difficult spots in such short period of time. All the information below. If you have any questions, drop it in the comments, and then I see you on the winning side of poker.